Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. Today, we are presenting webinar on image management for successful career, organized by Applied Science and Humanities Department of Parul Polytechnic Institute, Parul University. The main agenda of this webinar is to gain knowledge about image management, which helps in creating an authentic, appropriate, attractive, and affordable personal or professional image to increase our confidence, credibility, capability, and productivity while contributing to continuing success. I, Vaishali Nathwani, would like to introduce today's guest speaker, a humble soul, Dr. Shraddha Kulkarni, who is living her extraordinary dreams with the belief that women are real alchemists of the society. She is the winner of Mrs. India 2018 West, Face of Sarvopsi 2020, and Hall of Fame Supermom 2021. She has completed doctorate in management and currently working as MD and CEO at Panache, the Transformation Academy Private Limited. She served on senior positions in education and training industry for a decade and a half, along with being state president for WICCI Life Skills Council Maharashtra, World Peace Ambassador at UPF Europe, and supermodel of international repute. She has been working with several NGOs impacting the lives of underprivileged people. She is also an avid reader, philosopher, motivational speaker, social media influencer, powerful image coach, and consultant. Her never say die attitude has won her many accolades such as Best Management Professor Award, Super Achiever Award, Youth Icon Award, Inspiration Woman Award, and many more. She gives her 100% in whatever she takes up, and that reflects in the outcome. She is on a mission to touch upon the lives of people and make a difference through her journey as a coach. Her niche as a coach is personal transformation for creating powerful image. She serves as an alchemist for her clients to realize and develop the desired state of being and to position themselves as the best personal brand. It's a privilege to welcome you, ma'am, and you can start with the session.
Yeah, so thank you, Professor Vaishali, for that beautiful introduction. And I'm so glad to be a part of this platform at Parul University. So I thank Professor Hemal also for reaching out and arranging and organizing this workshop, because I believe that for students, it's extremely important for them to understand exactly what is to be done to have a successful career, because we keep on teaching them and they're very enthusiastic. The most important thing that we see in the students, all the students, one common thing, that is their energy. They have a lot of energy and enthusiasm. And if at all, being senior people or being people from industry, if we can help them out in channelizing that energy in the right direction, I'm sure they'll be able to do wonders and create a beautiful tomorrow for themselves as well as for the other members of the society. So I have a strong belief in this, and that is the reason why I'm here today to discuss with all the students about how can you manage your image or present yourself or acquire certain principles and skills which are coming under image management, and you can have a successful career. All right, so that is the topic. I'm sure the students are going to be excited to discuss about this, because it's all about their career. And when we say successful career, they are always interested to know exactly what has to be done for that. So I'm just sharing my presentation here. Just give me a moment, please. Is the presentation visible?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Then share your screen, entire screen.
I did, right? Is it visible now?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Now it is visible.
Perfect. So as you all know that the topic that we're going to discuss today is about image management for successful career. And you already know about my background, right? You already know that I'm working in management education field for almost 14 plus years. And I also have been fortunate enough to work with corporates and other companies. And I have been dealing with a lot many students and managers and people from corporate and training them on certain aspects which are related to their personal brand and image management. So here I'm going to share a story with you all before I begin into the interactions, okay? So you know what, this is something which is before the pandemic, wherein we used to have, you know, a classroom, or we used to have a physical training sessions. So, you know, I was conducting a training for a BFSI company, and how, you know, many of their you know, newly recruited or freshers were attending that training program. So all those management trainees were sitting in that beautiful hall, and then we were having a discussion. And you know, whenever I conduct these sessions, I have a different methodology altogether. So what I was doing is I have asked them questions, and I have made two different, you know, compartment in that room. Okay, so one compartment was a common one, and then I asked them to step into the other one whenever they are, you know, actually answering my questions, and their answer was yes. So the very first question that I asked them I have asked them was, okay, how many of you are, you know, very eager to have a successful career? So almost all of them have raised their hands, of course, because, you know, they were there and they were management trainees. And as I said, they were very enthusiastic and very high on their energy. So, you know, everybody has raised their hands. And then I said, okay, now answer me. How many of you have, you know, done something different and prepared yourself for being successful, have not, apart from, you know, doing your graduation or post-graduation, which you all have done, what all other things that you have done? Then some of them have stepped forward, and, you know, they have told me about their certification and course and internship and all those things. Then further, I asked them that how many of you have actually planned for your success? Then few of them again have come forward and spoke about their time management, their goals and all those things. I kept on asking them many questions, and, you know, digging through their life and dwelling deep into what exactly they have done and how they are looking at themselves in the future. And you know what, after that, all that session, almost after half an hour, after all that question answer session, what I realized was, in the other compartment, which is a successful, prospective successful, a professional compartment, there were all, you know, almost maybe 8 to 10 students out of all that 70-80 students. So just 10%. So now what am I trying to tell you here? You know, it's very common, you know, all of you are going through your education, your faculty members, your college, everybody's working very hard to ensure that you have all the knowledge and all the skills that are required to perform a certain job, right? You may be good in academics, and all that is very, very important, because that's a foundation. That is something which is very basic. But what makes you different is something more, something extraordinary that you do for yourself. And that extra elements take you to another level. So I'm giving you here two examples of my, you know, corporate trainees and those management trainees who are doing extremely, extremely well. And trust me, through my 15 years of experience, I can tell you, those who are successful are doing certain things in a different manner. They are very, very careful about their image management, and they are consciously putting efforts in improvising themselves on a consistent basis. They're not stopping anywhere. They are just going on and on. And here are the examples of those two, okay? One says that I'm working with Bajaj Finserves. I got 3 promotions in 1 year, and I'm the best performer of my region. Just imagine how successful these people and how they must be feeling, right? The other girl, she says, I'm working with HDFC Bank. I received 3 Employee of the Year awards, and I'm the youngest senior manager. Isn't that sound something which is very exciting? And trust me, my dear students, these pictures could be you when I'm conducting the next webinar of mine or session of mine, right? And how it is possible for all of you. So today I'm going to share certain principles with you, which are definitely going to be helpful for you to set a successful career of yours. Now, choice remains with you, okay? What I'm going to tell you is I would like you all to sit with your notepad and pen and note down all these 10 principles that I'm talking about. Make a beautiful, board of it and then put it somewhere where you can see it always, right? And if you can do that and if you can work on that, I'm sure nobody can stop you from being successful in your career, because it is not about what kind of profile do you have. It is not about which sector that you're working. It is never about, having a pandemic and not getting job and all those things. All these external environment are ineffective when you are working on yourself and when you're confident enough and you're putting all the efforts possible to make yourself successful. These external challenges are not going to come in your way, or you will be easily, even they are coming in your way, you'll be easily able to overcome those challenges if at all you are ready for the work that you're supposed to do. So are you all ready? Just raise your hands. Okay, wonderful. So if you are looking at these two pictures, there are two pots, right? Rather, there is one pot which is before and after. So you see this white pot, which is filled with all your knowledge. So I'm comparing, or I'm giving this metaphor of this pot, and I'm looking at you as students, okay? So you are full of your knowledge, skills, as I said. You already know about your domain knowledge. You already know about the subjects. You already know about what is going to be the profile that you're going to work with. What are the skills that would be required to it? So you are like this white pot, which is full of knowledge and skills. Now, if at all you want to set yourself out as compared to the other students, if you want to stand out and become successful, because you have a lot of competition out there, right? So how will you be able to make a difference, and how will you be the one who's going to be a choice for your company, your management, for promotions, for salary hike, for growth? So for that, this is the second pot that you can see in front of you, which is a designer one, right? Which looking more beautiful, which is more attractive? I'm sure the second one, right? So this is the job that I'm going to do through this workshop today, wherein I'm going to give you certain tips and certain principles, as I said, 10 principles, which are going to convert you into this beautiful pot, okay? So not only from the internal or the foundation, but you will also be polished yourself, or you will be also be working on yourself from the outside. So you have an inside out kind of a developmental perspective growth, right? So this is what we are looking at. And when we say image management, exactly what do we mean by image management? What does image consist? Okay. So when do we say an image, right? Out of all those people in your college, there would be some students that you feel that, they are your role model, or you look up to them. Out of all those faculty members, you must be having some faculty members again as your role model. Out of all the people in your relatives, in your friend circle, around you in the society, you will have some people whom you feel as they are your role model. You want to be like them. They are an inspiration. Why do you think so? Okay, why do you actually choose certain people? Because of their image. Okay, what kind of image do they have created? What kind of personal brand that they carry? What kind of reputation that they have in front of the other people? And that's how your image is your appropriate attire, the way you look, okay? Because tell me that you come across a very shabby person and he comes and tells you that, okay, I'm the billionaire and I'm going to, help you out in this and that. Will you trust him? You won't, because, the external side is not talking about him, right? So your appropriate attire for a certain occasion, your ethical actions, that's again very important. So as I said, it's always an inside out approach. You not only have to focus on your inner side or outer side, but it has to be a combination if you want to have a successful career, right? So ethical actions, you have to understand that you're not on the earth as alone, right? You're not living in isolation. Though we would have experienced in isolation in this COVID phase, but you know how difficult it is, right? So you always have to remember that you are going to be a part of a team in an organization, and you will be responsible. Your behavior will be responsible not only for yourself, but for the other members of your company itself, and the society as well. So your ethical actions are extremely important. Okay, strong communication skills. So how do you convey your message, and how convincing you are when you're talking to somebody or making a presentation in your professional life or talking about a certain proposal in your company? Okay, all it depends on how convincingly that you are able to convey your message to the other person. Okay, and then communication skills play an important role here. Okay, now what communication skills and how is it going to be helpful for you is something that we're going to come up to. Okay, calm under stress. Again, this is very important. We have so many people, they have a good behavior, but suddenly when it comes to a certain situation which is pressurized, suddenly they change their behavior and they become indecent. They use indecent language, they raise their voice, and they are shouting and scolding people. Okay, what kind of image are you presenting in front of people? It's not about you scolding other people, it's about you yourself. You're not able to handle the stress. And trust me, the moment you start growing in your company, the moment you start climbing that ladder of success, it's very important for all of you to understand that there is going to be a rising pressure on you. The moment you reach up to another level, the pressure is going to be very high. The stress is going to be very high. But are you able to handle that stress in a calm and composed way? That is very important. So these 4 important aspects are the aspects of your image management: your attire, your ethical behavior, your communication skills, and how do you control yourself when it is a stressful situation. Now, you may have a question that, okay, since you've already told us about, how image management helps us and how it is related to our success, and I've also given you certain examples of my, trainees who have been through this and have experienced a successful career because they are, very well aware about their own image and how they can improvise that image. Now, why it matters? Okay. So there are a number of things in an organization which you have to present to the other people or your company, and you have to give them the confidence. Okay. A confidence that yes, you are the one who is capable of growing. You have the potential. And how can you do that? By managing image, and that's why managing image matters a lot. Now, when we say managing image, image matters a lot, what exactly is actually affecting? Okay, so when we talk about a positive image or a personal brand, it gives you a lot of benefits. So what are those benefits? So first of all, leadership and reputation. People trust you. Okay, you have a good reputation. People look up to you. As I said, they look at you as an inspiration. They are carried away with the kind of approach that you carry. And that's why your reputation is good. When your reputation is good, and when you get into a leadership role, okay, people accept you as a leader. Your followers listen to what you are saying. Okay, they are actually doing what you ask them to do. And that is how, if you have a positive image in front of your people in the organization, you will be able to become a good leader. You will be able to develop your leadership abilities, and at the same time, you will have a positive reputation in front of the other people. Second, as I said, trust and reliability. Your management has to have that trust factor in you. They should find you reliable and trustworthy. Okay, they will give you the most important responsibility only and only when you are proving that you are capable of handling that responsibility and getting positive results. So if you have a positive image in an organization, people will trust you. It will increase your reliability, and that is how you will be given important responsibilities, additional responsibilities, and that is how you can prove your worth in an organization. Next is your credibility and impression. It is very, very important to have a credibility amongst people, okay? So when you go out and try and do a business, why people will do business with you when they have so many options, right? If you have a product, for example, and if you are trying to give or sell that product to someone else, why people will buy your product and not someone else's product? So it is all depends on your credibility. So similarly, you also as a personal brand has to have a credibility. Why people will hire you in their organization? Why people will give you promotion in their organization? Why people will, as I said, accept your proposal? It is because you have created that credibility for yourself. You have that positive image, you have that aura and that charismatic personality that people trust you, people see or people feel that yes, if you are doing something, it must be the right thing, okay? And that is how you create a positive impression in front of people, all right? So if you have a positive image, you can create a credibility and a positive impression in front of people, which is very, very important for you in your career, successful career. So as I said, irrespective of what field that you're working, what kind of profile do you have, whether you go out and meet people or whether you're doing a back-end job at the office, it doesn't matter. But your positive image will definitely come to your rescue when it comes to facing certain challenges and trying to overcome those challenges, okay? And the last but not the least, when you have a positive image, you create a professionalism attitude in front of people, okay? People know that if you take a certain decision, it is not because of a personal bias or being partial or something. They trust your decisions and they know that whatever decisions that you're going to get or going to take are going to be ethical decisions and they are good for other people as well as the organization. So that professionalism is there. And then ultimately, when you have a positive image, you become successful, right? Because if you have all these other aspects taken care of, your leadership, your reputation, your reliability, credibility, impression, and professionalism, the ultimate goal is going to be success, all right? So that is the reason why I'm sure by now you would be convinced that yes, image management is very, very important. So as I said, you're already full as a pot from inside with your knowledge about your subject or the job that you need to perform. But now you have to polish the external side or the outside of yourself to create a positive image in front of people, right? So if you really want to be successful in your career, the next 30 minutes that we're going to have a discussion over are very, very important for you. And I would rather go ahead and say that these 30 minutes are going to be life-changing for you. Do you believe that? You have to, because I already have told you about the examples of the students who are using these particular principles and they have become successful. So I'm sure it is going to work for you as well. So as I said, there are going to be two perspectives. One, that you listen to all these, webinars and things that are happening for you. You note it down in your diary, close that diary and keep it aside. In that case, you're going to remain where you are, okay? There is not going to be any change in you. But there could be a second approach wherein, as I said, you make a note, you think about it seriously, and you try and work on yourself. Develop all those principles in yourself, create a positive image, and just look at the kind of success that you're going to get in your career, okay? It definitely going to work for you, but only and only when you are ready to work on yourself. That's the most important thing of all. Help yourself, all right? So are you ready? So I'm going to talk about the 10 principles as I said, pay attention to it. So the very first thing, okay, before that, let me just ask you a very, basic question, okay? You could see that there are two images, all right? So if at all you have to make a choice, like for example, you are a CEO of a company or you are a recruiter of a company and you have to choose candidate 1 and 2, one who is in black and the other one who is in gray. Whom will you choose? Who looks more professional? Who looks reliable? Look at the expressions, look at the hairstyle, look at the kind of clothes that they're wearing. Look at the blazer. Look at the one who's wearing shoes without socks and the trouser length and all that. I'm sure A would be your choice here, right? Okay, now look at this another painting. If you have to buy a beautiful painting for your office or for your home, will you buy A or B? The first one or the second one?
B.
The second one, of course, right? Why? Because it is actually done in a very professional manner. It is not haywire, right? It actually gives you a perspective. When you look at the painting, you understand what it is. Okay, so it goes for you also. Your image has to be like Mona Lisa. It should not be something that is not even close to her. Now look at the third image. Again, will you choose? Okay, you have to do a business with these two ladies and you have a choice to choose one of them. You would like to talk to one of them. Which one would you like to talk to, A or B? I'm sure the second one, B, right? Again, why? Because when you look at her, she comes across as a very approachable, likable person to you, a beautiful smile on her face. She's dressed properly for that occasion, right? She's, again, from that image, you can see that she must be a very soft-spoken girl. And look at the other one. She's, actually shouting and scolding and all those things, right? Would you like to talk to people like this? She's not even holding her phone in a correct manner, isn't it? So these are, just symbolic images, but many a times, trust me, as human beings, we don't realize, we are not even aware that this is something that we are presenting to people, but we are, we become an A option here sometimes or the B option here sometimes, okay? And we don't even realize it. So it is very, very important for all of you to first of all understand what exactly is going wrong in me, like not going wrong, but what is the areas of improvisation that are there? What is that change that I need to bring in my behavior? How people are looking at me? Am I coming across as an approachable person, as a team member, right? Because again, as I said, you may be entering in a certain job with your required skill, and these skills will land you in a certain job for sure. So even if you don't have a very positive or strong personal image, it will still be able to give you a job. But the moment you actually climb the ladder, as I said, the moment you start getting into the another role, senior level positions, that time it's very, very important for you to have these particular skills. Your outside matters a lot at that time, okay? And that is also a part of your image management. So the very first lesson, so as I said, 10 lessons, here we are talking about the first two. The very first lesson is dress for success. Again, very, very important aspect of your image management, the first impression that you create in front of people. So whenever you go for an interview process, for an important meeting, for a presentation, the very first thing that people notice about you is your attire, your shoes, your hairstyle, and your grooming, your basic hygiene. You have to take care of it, okay? You cannot be negligent about it, right? You have to ensure that your clothes are clean, properly ironed. You are not having any body odor as such. You have taken care of yourself well. You're, done your grooming very well. The basic hygiene taken care of. You're wearing a proper formal shoes, be it a girl or a boy, doesn't matter. Okay, but you have to follow all those certain, manners or certain regulations which are there to look professional. So now you know what professional attire is, right? I'm sure you will have an idea about it. So whenever you're going for something which is very, very important in your professional life, you have to ensure that your dress is actually like that, okay? You are choosing the colors. Whenever you have some confusion about your dressing, go for the basic colors. What are the basic colors? Black, gray, okay? You have brown, navy blue. All these colors are basic colors that you can definitely wear. Again, female, male, doesn't matter, okay? Your shoes has to be proper, clean, polished. You have to wear a socks which is of matching color to your trouser. Your for boys, of course, your shoes, your belt, and if you're wearing a watch with a leather belt, it has to be of the same color. For girls, it has to be some kind of a heel, not a flat shoes, and it has to be closed toe shoes. Okay, so all these basic elements are very, very important. The clothes that you're wearing has to be properly of your size. It should not be too tight or too loose. Okay, it should be exactly fitting to your personality. Again, there's a lot that we can discuss, and each and every principles can be one single webinar for ourselves, but we are not going to get into that depth. But I'm sure you can read so many blogs and all those aspects, and you can find out which exactly is the right way to dress yourself when you're going for something which is important in your professional life. So that is very, very important. Look at your wardrobe and see whether you have decent stuff in it or not. Okay, so that's a very, very first important thing. Look at your personal hygiene. You have to take care of your personal hygiene. You have to ensure that the basic hygiene is taken care of. Okay, the second important principle is sharpen your soft skills. Okay, it's very, very important for all of you to have soft skills. As I said again, it doesn't matter whether you're doing a desk job, you're working in a remote area, you are not talking to too many people, or whatever it is. Okay, soft skills are very, very important, because when you have a good interaction with other people, it becomes very easy for you to get your job done. Okay, even if people have to go out of their ways and help you out in doing certain things, they still do it when you have a good rapport with them. Okay, so for that, it is very, very important for you to have your soft skills taken care of. So when we say soft skills, what exactly does it include? It includes your manners and etiquette. It includes your social interaction. It includes your interpersonal skills. It includes your time management skills. Okay, all these are the basic skills which make you a positive personality in front of other people, are a part of your soft skills. Your communication skill is also a part of it, but we are going to discuss that in detail as well. So you have to understand, and the very important aspect that you need to remember here when we again talk about soft skills is that you have to treat people the way you want them to treat you. Okay, so always keep yourself in the position of the other person and see how would you feel when you are treating the other person this way. Okay, and that is how you can always understand whether your behavior is right or wrong. Okay, so that is the very basic rule that I can talk to you about in this short time of period, that you have to sharpen your soft skills. You have to understand what all are the elements of soft skills, as I explained already. And the important aspect, or the very easiest thing that you can remember, is always treat people in the manner that you want to be treated by them. Okay, so if you want to seek respect, you have to give respect. Next, number 3 and number 4, again, very, very important. The moment you get into your corporate world, or you get into any kind of a job, the very important thing that you have to do is find out a mentor. Okay, you have to find out someone either in your company, inside the company, or maybe from outside, who's working in the similar industry, who can help you out in growing and understanding exactly what it is. Because I'm sure many of you would, understand, and many of you would have heard these words before. Your parents, your senior people in your family, or maybe your elder brothers and sisters keep on telling you, I'm telling you this, right? When I was a kid of your age, or when I was a youngster of your age, there was nobody to tell me how am I supposed to be, right? We hear this so many times, isn't it? So that means what? Everybody needs a mentor. When you have a mentor, he or she will properly guide you about your progress. They will tell you that what kind of challenges are there on your way. In advance, you will come to know about it, and then so you will be prepared to overcome those challenges. You will have the strategies to be actually overcoming those challenges. And whenever you are stuck somewhere, whenever you have questions, whenever you have doubts, you can just reach out to the person, and there will be someone who will be definitely helping you out, right? But don't be very selfish when you choose a mentor. Okay, sometimes what happens when we have a mentor, we actually reach out to the mentor, and then we seek help from the person, And once we are done with the job, when we reach to a certain level, once we achieve our goal, we forget about the mentor. We don't even give a credit to our mentor. Don't do that, okay? You have to find out a mentor, as I said, inside your company or somebody from outside who's working in the same industry, or you can see yourself 5 years or 10 years down the line at that level of the person. Then you can definitely reach out to the person, request them to be your mentor. Okay, and I'm sure many people out there are ready to be mentor for students like you. So you can easily get a mentor, and they will definitely be helping you out in understanding how you have to, decide the direction of where you want to go in your life and how can you reach there. All right. So that's the third important aspect. Next would be build your personal brand. Again, it's very, very important to have your personal brand. Why would you like to go and buy an Apple iPhone? Why would you like to go and buy Adidas shoes or Nike shoes? Okay. When it comes to wearing a certain clothes, why do you go and flaunt and say that, okay, I'm wearing, a Tanishq jewelry, or I'm wearing a Titan watch, or Tag Heuer watch? All this is what? These are all brands, right? Why do you like Dhoni? Yesterday it was Dhoni's birthday. How many of you have celebrated that? I'm sure many of you, right? Why? Because for you, many of you, Dhoni would be a brand, isn't it? Virat Kohli would be a brand. Sachin Tendulkar would be a brand. Why is it so? Or maybe in the business also, in your industry also, you'll have some or the other role model. Why do you actually look up to them? What have they done? They have created themselves as a brand. Why do you feel like listening to someone, or trusting someone, or getting convinced by someone's word? Because they already have created themselves as a brand. They have a credibility, they have a reputation to themselves, right? And how do you build that? By building your own personal brand. Okay, now how do you build your personal brand? You have to be authentic, you have to keep on working on yourself, you have to be realistic, you have to set a goal for yourself and have a self-discipline. Okay, you have to decide that, okay, I want to reach there. And you, at the same time, you have to be open for the criticism and feedback. If people are giving you certain feedback, you must think about it and try and improvise on yourself. Okay, you should take care of your digital presence as well. You should have an account on LinkedIn, and you should be very careful about the content that you're sharing on LinkedIn and what kind of person that you're coming across on the online platforms. Okay, so all these are very basic things that you have to take care of to build a personal brand of yourself: your communication, your digital presence, and your image, external image, or your appearance. These are the three important aspects that you need to take care of if you want to build yourself as a personal brand. Okay, and that's very, very important for your success. So many at times, again in your class also, you may feel, or you may come across certain students and you say, okay, he or she is very favorite of the teachers, and whenever he or she gets successful in a competition or anything, we don't look at the kind of efforts that those people are putting up, right? The kind of extra, or the kind of hard work that those people are doing. What we actually try and do, we just find out an excuse. We say, yeah, she's successful because she has all the resources, or she's successful because she has a support from somebody, or she's successful because he's successful because the team is partial or something like that. So these are all excuses. Okay, why people become favorite of someone, why people become a little more successful than us, or why people actually win a competition or do certain things? Because they are creating themselves as a personal brand, and it is possible for all of us to create a personal brand. You actually have to just seriously think about it. Okay, so I'm sure you would remember these two other principles: dress for success, sharpen your soft skills, find out a mentor for yourself because you need one, and build your personal brand. Okay, all right, so again, give me a heads up if you are already thought about all these 4 skills, so that I can move on. Okay, so the next skill, or the next principles that you need to remember, are number 5 and 6. Build your networking skills. What kind again matters a lot. All right. So when I say networking skill here, I'm sure you would know networking skill is what? Knowing lot many people around you. But then, if you say that, okay, on my Facebook, I have 5,000 people as my friends, or on my LinkedIn, I have 5,000 connection, that is not a networking skill at all. How many of you can you reach out when you are in need of some professional help? When you want to have a professional relationship, how many of them actually are going to respond to you? Okay, that is what we call networking skill. So you have to, bear this in mind, that numbers are not something which is important here when it comes to networking skill. First of all, you have to find out people who are going to have some kind of, I'm talking about the professional networking skills here for sure. So you have to find out what are the exchange factors that you can have. Can you exchange knowledge with each other? Can you exchange business with each other? Can you exchange ideas with each other? So there has to be some common factor when it comes to networking skills, okay? And when it comes to networking skill, you have to have two kind of networking skills. One is internal network and the other one is external network, okay? So when we say internal network, you have to have a networking skills not only with the people from your department or who are in line with what you are doing, but also from people from other department, other cities, other regions, okay? So you have to keep on connecting with them through different platforms, and many of the organizations give you an opportunity to reach out to each other through intranet, through internal networking portals, right? So make the most of make the use of it and make the most of it, so that you can have an internal network, okay? You will have people, as I said, from other departments as well. You will have people from different cities whom you are connected to, who are working in the same company. And that is definitely going to be helpful for you when it comes to getting things done. And as I said, the second kind of networking would be networking outside of your organization. So as I said, LinkedIn would be a platform, or maybe you're attending certain programs, you may be attending certain meets, you may be a part of certain communities who are in your field, okay? All these things will be able to help you out in developing your networking skills. You may be attending certain conferences, or you may be writing certain blogs through which you are interacting with people. All these skills or all these methodologies that you can use, so that you can improvise your internal as well as external networking skills. When you have a good network, you find it very easy to reach out to people whenever you are in need of some professional help or assistance, or you have certain business to do or certain things to do with people, okay? So again, it is very, very important for all of you to have this skill. Next would be, you have to be likable, okay? Means what? People should like you genuinely, not only on your face, okay? Many a times this happens that when they come across to you, they say, wow, you're great. And the moment you move out of that place, people say, hey, I don't like that person. So it should not be like that. And I understand. At the same time, I completely understand that many people are jealous. Many people are unnecessarily, creating problems with other people. So you cannot be likable to everyone. That's okay. But you at least have to try from your end genuinely to put in efforts that you become likable to many of the people in the organization. So what do we mean by being likable? Likable means people should find it easy to approach you. Whenever they have a doubt or question, they should be easily coming to you without any hesitation and ask you about that. Second, they should be able to easily communicate their ideas in front of you. So you should have that agreement to disagreement factor here, okay? People should find it easy to give you a feedback. These are the three important things that you need to develop in yourself if you want to become likable, all right? Next would be the unwritten rules and be flexible. So principle number 7 and 8, again, be careful and listen to it, because many people will tell you about all the other things that I'm talking about when you are coming across a communication skill or something. But these unwritten rules is something which, very less people will talk about. And what is it? It is actually reading between the lines. Again, when you join an organization, it's very easy for you to understand the rules and regulations which are written in your employee manual, isn't it? But how do you understand what kind of cultures do we have in the organization? What are the principles and values that my organization has? Whether it has a politics or it is less politics, whether it's a friendly organization, whether it is a conservative organization. How will you come to know about all these factors? There are no rules and regulations written anywhere about this, right? So you have to read between lines. As I said, you have to understand the unwritten rules and principles. Okay. For example, if you're working in an organization who's socially oriented, and if you are not inclined towards any kind of social, work or any kind of social approach or initiative, then actually there's no match between what you're doing and what your organization is doing, and it will actually somewhere clash. All right. So you have to find out exactly what is going on in the organization. What are the unwritten rules? What are the, unsaid processes? What your manager expects you to be? What your management expects you to be? What are the other colleagues expecting from you? And you have to keep on understanding that. And how will you be able to understand it? So here your networking skill will be useful for you. And trust me, okay, you may not understand it very clearly at this particular moment, but write it down in your diary. When you join an organization, you will see that people are coming and telling you, okay, you cannot have, lunch in your own office. You have to go and sit in the canteen. That is the rule that we have. So nobody would write it down in the diary, or it would not be written on the flags. Okay. It would be said, it is an unsaid, unwritten rule that is there in the organization. So you have to follow it. If you don't follow it, you will have some repercussions to it. Okay. So that's why it's very important for you to understand the unwritten rules. All right. Next would be flexible. So again, it's very, very important to be flexible. Many a times what happens when we get an opportunity, we look at it as a challenge. Like, for example, your company sending you to a remote location to work. Just don't look at it as a challenge that, people are not happy with me, or my company is again biased, and, I'm not in good book of my manager, and that is why they're sending me. No, you any which ways have to go there and work, right? Do you have a choice? You don't. So you have to be a little flexible here. Look at it as an opportunity. Can I go to that remote place and can I make a difference over there? Can I do something which is not has been done yet in the organization at all? And if at all you could do that, you will be appreciated like anything. That will be the first step of success. So you have to be flexible. You have to look at your challenges as an opportunity and then actually convert them into an opportunity. Okay. You have to be flexible to do your work. You cannot be rigid and say, this is not my part of job. I'm not going to do that. If you keep on doing that, somewhere you will lose the credibility amongst people. So even if somebody is coming, seeking out for help, which is not in your criteria or which is not in your purview, you still have to help them out because you can. Not because it is your job, but because you are a good person in the organization, right? Sometimes you have to work extra hours. Okay. Sometimes you have to accommodate with other people whom you are not very comfortable in your personal space. So at that time, you have to be flexible enough to accommodate and adapt with all these things. Sometimes you have to work with a certain technology which you are not very comfortable with. So what do you do at that time? If you close your mind and say, no, I'm not good in that, you will never be able to learn that. But if you are flexible enough and say, okay, let me try, let me understand what are the challenges that I face when I actually look at this. Okay. So if you look at it like this, I'm sure you'll be able to overcome those challenges. You can learn that technology as well, and you can move forward. So whatever steps that you are actually going on, you will always face some or the other challenges, and you have to be ready for it. Okay. So these are the 5, 6, and 7, 8 rules. Build your networking skills, internal, external, as I said. You can be likable. You have to become likable, approachable. You have to accept feedback. You have to accept to be disagreed with people. And the 7, 8, the unwritten rules, again, very, very important to understand the internal aspects or the unsaid aspects, or the, you have to read in between the lines, and you have to be flexible. Now I'm coming to the last two principles, and I'm sure you must be excited to know about it. Okay. So the last two principles are being authentic and stop being playing a blame game. Okay. So the ninth principle, be authentic, means what? Sometimes what happens, we are, we have a habit of bragging about ourselves, right? We do that even when we are a child. Like, for example, if you have four friends and they say that, okay, I have this car and that car, and I have a very posh house and all. So we are so scared to be different, and we maybe are from an average family. So what do? We also say that, yeah, I also have a big house, I also have a big car. And when they actually see you going on a bike, or maybe your parents are picking you up in a very small car, what happens? They actually, then tease you, or they find you unauthentic. And that kind of a programming or mentality which we have developed in our childhood, that we also want to brag about ourselves, continues when we are coming to a workplace also. So never lie about your experience, never lie about your qualification, never lie about your skills. Even if you are not aware about something, just be open and accept it and say, no, I don't have the skills, no, I don't know this technology, no, I haven't heard about this word. It's always good to accepting all these factors and then working on it. Okay. So you have to be authentic. You do not have to present something which you are not. Okay. Never over present yourself. Never even under present yourself. You have to understand your potential and you have to actually work on it. Okay. You have to be genuine. You have to be authentic. You have to be real to yourself and then real to other people as well. Again, very, very important aspect. Being authentic will always, build your credibility. Sometimes you may feel that people are not accepting you because you don't have something, but in the longer run, you can learn what you don't have, right? You can learn that skill which you don't have. But if you say that I have the skill, and if you actually are not able to prove that in front of people, you will lose your credibility over there. So that's why it's very, very important for you to be being authentic. Next would be stop the blame game and own up. Many at times what happens when we make a mistake, we are so scared of making mistake that we don't accept, and then we have many excuses again to share. I wasn't well. Again, when you have an examination and you are not prepared for the examination, you don't give a good examination, what all excuses do you give? I could have done better, but I wasn't well. I could have done better, but another friend of mine wasn't well, so I was helping him out. So, blah, 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 right? So we come up with many excuses, or we keep on blaming other people for a certain thing, right? Again, the faculty, when we are not doing good in a subject, we say that the faculty is not good, right? So it's not about other people. Trust me, whenever you've done some mistake, whenever you are not doing something that you're supposed to, the blame has to be given to yourself, not to others. If you keep on playing this blame game, it is going to be very, very harmful for you going forward, or, again, climbing the ladder of your career and going to the next and next level of your senior positions. Okay. You will only be able to become a successful leader, and you will only be able to handle your role on a senior position if you stop this blame game, if you own the responsibility of things that you have done. Okay. So it is said, generally that they say that whenever you do something good, whenever you win, the credit has to be given to the entire team as a leader. And whenever you're losing something, whenever you fail in doing something, you should take the blame as a leader on yourself. Okay. And that's what do we mean by that? That means you have to own up the responsibility and accountability of your team members, their performance, their training, their development, everything. And at the same time, you have to own up the performance of your own self. You have to understand what is good and what is bad in me. And that is how you have to keep on working on yourself. All right. So once you become accountable, again, people start trusting you. Okay. Your credibility increases, your positive image increases, because you're owning up whatever you do, whether it's a mistake or whether it's something good. All right. So these are the 10 principles that I would like you all to remember all the while. And trust me, the moment you start working on all these things, there's nothing else that you have to do to be successful in your career. So as I said, do remember, you are a filled pot already. You already have your knowledge in place. You already know the job that you have to do. You may have done your internship and you are aware about exactly how I have to do my job. But if you want to reach to another level, you have to polish the external side of yours as well. Okay, and this external side also includes your internal side, that is your attitude. Okay, a positive image of yourself, a positive brand that you need to create about yourself, and that is only possible if you stick to these 10 principles. If you evaluate and do a self-assessment and understand where do you stand right now, where do you want to go, and how can you breach that gap from what you are and what you want to be through working on these 10 principles. All right. So the quality of a person's life is directly proportionate to their commitment to excellence. So if at all you are sticking to all these 10 principles, excellence is something that is guaranteed. Because as I said, I always say this, right? I say that success is a relative concept. Maybe being successful for me would be getting money. Maybe successful for me would be, getting famous. Maybe successful would be getting, being able to help more people. So everybody has a different concept of success. But excellence is something that is always, the same. You have to be excellent in whatever you do. You have to be the master of whatever you do. All right. And for that, you have to be committed towards it. You have to work on all these 10 principles, regardless of your chosen field. Whichever field that you would like to work with, if you want to make a difference, if you really want to be excellent in that field, you have to work on your own self-manage. And your brand isn't what you say about it, but it's about what Google says about it. So when people try and search you on Google, you should have to have some credibility, and that is only possible when you are actually working on your self-brand and self-image. All right. So this is all that I have to say to you today. And I'm sure this is going to be helpful for you for your successful way ahead. I wish you all the best, all my dear students. I hope that all these 10 principles is something that you're going to be actually working on. And I would be eagerly looking forward to knowing that you have worked on these 10 principles and this is helping you out in grabbing that dream job of yours or doing very well in your job going forward. Okay. So I'm sure you all have that potential in yourself and you will be able to achieve that. So now I would like you all to ask the questions that you have in your mind. I'm so thankful to all of you for patiently listening to me. And I hope that this is something which is going to be helpful for you for sure.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an informative session. It
Pleasure.
will be quite helpful to our faculties and students, both of our university.
Wonderful.
Yes, any questions? Students and faculties from your end? Yes, Dipsa and any of faculties?
Ma'am, one question from my side is that as you told that we have to always keep an positive attitude at every place. So it sometimes happened that if we are always used to keep positive attitude, even in the negative situations also, then what happens that if we are thinking continuously over 100% of positiveness, then till something negative happens, then people are like, yes, you are thinking much of good, and then see what is happening right now. There is nothing use of positiveness. So, ma'am, what to do of such people that they think that they don't think that positiveness not always works?
All right. Thank you, Dipsa, for asking these questions. And this is actually a very wonderful question, I must say. Okay, when we say positive attitude, what does it mean? There are two types of positive attitude. One is that sometimes we actually don't understand what is the situations, and without even being realistic, we become positive and hopeful, even without putting any efforts from our end, we think that the result is going to change. Okay. So that is something which is not unrealistic optimism. Okay. We are not talking about unrealistic optimism. We cannot be like that because that is actually running away from a situation. you are just covering your running away approach in a positive attitude. That's not true. So what you have to do is, positive attitude means you have to be hopeful about the results and you have to be confident about yourself to be able to change that result. Okay, and that's only possible when you have a realistic optimism. So what is a realistic optimism? You're actually analyzing the situations very properly, very well, and even if you have some negative outcome, you are trying to work in different manners. You're trying to find out different alternatives to work upon so that you can turn that negative outcome into a positive one. All right, now it is about you. You have to have this kind of positive attitude. But when it come across to other people, see, this a very common factor I would like to say here is, whatever you are, no matter how good you're doing, no matter how successful you are, people always have something to say, something negative to say about it. Everybody is not going to accept you. Everybody is not going to be, actually giving you the credibility, or they're not going to be good to you. So it's okay. It's not about other people. All right. You have to have that confidence in yourself, and you have to keep on, working on yourself. As I said, if you have realistic optimism, if you're positive in a realistic, genuine sense, then you keep on doing your work. Some or the other day, people will realize that you're right. Okay. So don't get affected by the opinion of people, neither the positive opinion. Don't get carried away with some positive opinions about people, and at the same time, don't get carried away by the negative. Don't feel frustrated or disappointed because of the negative kind of a response from other people. You have to be confident about yourself, and you have to have that realistic optimism. Good enough, Dipsa?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind reply.
Pleasure, yeah. My pleasure. Do we have any more questions?
Yes, Japanti ma'am.
Okay, so do we read that question out? Do you want me to do that?
She had raised her hand, so I asked.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon,
No
ma'am.
issue.
Afternoon.
It was very nice presentation, ma'am. But I have one question.
Yes, please.
How do we differentiate between impression and image?
All right. So, image is something that we actually work upon ourselves, and we try and create an image. Okay. That is a self-concept. And impression is something that actually people derive from what we are trying to present here. All right. So these are the concepts. Like, for example, when we say impression, it is about the other people. I may feel that my presentation was extremely good, right? I feel that I have worked very hard on this particular session and I've presented all the 10 principles. So I have done a very good job and I'm a best presenter. So that is my image that I have, actually curated in my own head. But when it comes to impression, the moment you say that, yes, Japanti has said that, yeah, ma'am, your presentation was good, or Professor Vaishali has just mentioned it, that means I have been able to create an impression, right? So there is self-concept that we have and what people derive from it. So if there is no lot of distance between how people perceive us and how we want to project ourselves, or what we are rather, authentically, if there is no gap between these two, that means we are able to create a positive image and impression altogether. Okay. So when we are working on ourselves, we are working on our image. And when people derive us, or when people create a certain kind of an image about us in their mind, that is the impression that we have created in front of them. So image is always in our hand. Impression is also in our hand, but we have to keep on putting efforts for creating that positive image in front of people. All right.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Actually, in the childhood, people say that your first impression is the last impression. That's why I have a question in my mind.
All right. Okay. Many a times this is true. Okay. This is true. First impression is very, very important. And how do you how can you always be sure that your first impression is going to be, going to be positive or going to be lasting? So the very first thing is you have to be authentic, as I said. You have to prepare for the occasion that you're going, be it a presentation, an interview, whatever it is, you have to be well prepared for it. And as I told you about those 10 principles, those are the one that definitely going to be helpful for you to creating that first impression. But, you know, when people say that first impression is the last impression, I don't trust on this factor. Yes, first impression is extremely important. That's true. That is crucial. But you can always change that first impression by your continuous efforts, by being authentic. Okay. You may not be able to create a very positive first impression, but if you consistently put on efforts, if you turn your challenges into opportunities, and if you deal with your failures in a positive manner and keep on moving ahead with your efforts, you will definitely be able to change that first impression into something else. All right. So first impression is not the last impression, but first impression is an important impression. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Yes. One question from my side, ma'am.
Yes, please.
How can we give ideas to the students to make their communication skills strong?
All right. Okay, so when it comes to communication skills, generally what happens, we only think about, polishing ourselves. We may think about our fluency in English or fluency in language, our voice modulation and body language and all those aspects. Of course, that are very, very important aspects, and that is very basic. Okay, that is a prerequisite of communication. So students need to work on all these things as a basic. But if they actually want to become a best communicator, they have to think about the other people whom they are communicating. All right, that is very important. That is communication skills. Fluency in language is not a communication skill. Okay, it is just the basic or the foundation of communication skill. So they need to understand who is my audience, whom am I talking to, what is their background, where are they coming from, what are they expecting from me when I'm going. Like, for example, if you are going with a product to a client, a customer, prospective customer, and if you're trying to explain that product to the customer, but the customer doesn't have that much of money to buy the product, is he going to buy your product? No. But how will you know that? When you do your proper research, your proper preparation when you're going for a presentation like this or a product sale like this, right? So it's very important for you to understand the communication style of the other person when you're communicating with them, and then accommodate yourself according to that. Because tomorrow you may, when you are reaching to another level, the students, when they will join a corporate job, they will have to communicate at different level, peer level, superior level. They have to communicate at the subordinate level. They also have to communicate with the external bodies. So it's very important for them to understand who is their audience, what is their background, and how they can most effectively deliver their message to that certain category of audience. So yes, students have to, pay attention to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dipsa?
Dipsa?
One last question from my
Yes,
side.
please.
That
Sure.
as you mentioned that we should always be soft spoken and be
Mhm.
calm. So it happens that we always used to be soft to everyone. Then sometimes it happens that we are only getting to be suppressed. So what to do in such kind of situations?
All right. Okay. Again, very beautiful question. So I said that you have to sharpen your soft skills. I didn't say that you have to be soft spoken, but yes, being soft spoken is something that is actually going to, create a positive image about you in front of people, and people will be listening to you because you have a softer tone of voice. So you can continue with that, but trust me, when it comes to your leadership roles, you have to keep on, changing yourself. So you cannot be a doormat to people. All right. Being soft spoken doesn't mean that you have to be, only listening to people. Being soft spoken is you can be assertive. Like, for example, if somebody is not respecting you enough, in a soft word, you can just convey that message to the person that, okay, whatever you have said is very disrespectful. I don't agree with this. And I think you have to work on yourself, because your self concepts or your concept about me are not very clear. Whatever you're saying is something which is completely a disagreement that I have. Okay. So you can convey your message that you are not agreeing with that person, or you didn't like his behavior, or as a manager, as a leader, you don't approve the wrong behavior of your team members. But that can also be conveyed without raising your voice or without shouting and or being on top of your voice and things like that, right? So that is how you have to be soft spoken but assertive. You have to be firm on your opinion, and you do not have to be arrogant, and you have to convey your message very strongly but in a very polite tone.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Pleasure.
Yes, I think we have ended with the question answer session, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us and giving
Pleasure.
your valuable time.
Thanks to all of you. Wonderful organization, very curious students, and my best wishes to all of you. Thank you so much.
I would like to thank Mr. Hemal Patel, sir, and the HR for Institute, Professor Jatin Vaidya, sir, Academic Director, Dr. Mahesh Bhatt, sir, and the President of a university, Dr. Devanshu Patel, sir, for motivating and supporting us continuously. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us.
Thank you so much. God bless all of us. Stay safe.